What's up, world? It's your girl, Felicity Brown, host of this All Say It Then podcast. Yo, this is the podcast that may just motivate your day. So make sure you turn me up while I break the bullshit down. Hey, guys. It's your hostess with the mostest opinion, Felicity Brown. And I want to welcome you guys to our very sixth episode of this All Say It Then podcast, y'all. Today on the show, we're going to talk about the 3 biggest successful tips to do when starting a new relationship. And we're also going to talk about this new alleged R. Kelly sex tape that surfaced. All right, guys, let's get into this podcast. Diva. Okay, you're not going to say it? I'll say it then. Hey, what's up, guys? The message of today isn't really a message. It's, it is a message, I guess you could say. Anyway, I want to give you guys 3 tips to starting your relationship off on the right foot. Again, I want to give you guys 3 tips on how to start a new relationship off on the right foot when dating someone. Okay? And this is the reason why I'm giving you guys these tips is I have a lot of friends who come up to me because they know me and my husband has been together now about 8 years. No, we haven't been together 50 years yet, but we have been together 8 years. And this being 2019, that's a long time because a lot of people relationships in between their 20s and their early 40s don't last more than 6 months or a year. Just based on what I've seen, at least in my area, that is. So I have people come up to me and ask us questions about our relationship. And I feel the reason why a lot of relationships aren't lasting is because you're not really getting to know someone at the beginning of that relationship. The first thing I want to talk about is religion, because some people is really close to their religion, and you may be dating someone and getting to know someone, and you find out 6 months into the relationship that their beliefs aren't nowhere near yours, or they don't have any beliefs at all. For some people, that's not a problem. You can believe what you want to believe. I'm going to believe what I want to believe. For some people, that's an issue. You're questioning my God. You're questioning my beliefs. That can be a problem. Those things you should ask at the beginning of the relationship. The reason why this kind of thing gets avoided is because, again, no one wants to feel like they're being pushed into something. No one wants to feel pushy in a relationship. They're always asking all the hard questions, but these kind of things can save you a lot of time and a lot of heartbreak in the end. Some people is extremely dedicated to religion, and some people are not. And the reason you should ask this question is because you shouldn't enter a relationship thinking, I'll change their mind. I'll change them. No, if that person tell you this is it and this is what I believe, leave. Because you don't want to be spending your time trying to change someone. This is only for those people who are very close to their religion, or people who strongly stand against religion. Not someone who's in the shady gray. This is for someone who's either a yes or someone that's either a no. This is who this is referring to. Do not go in a relationship trying to change someone's belief and make them a believer if they aren't. And do not try to go into someone's relationship telling them what they believed in their entire life is a lie. Don't do that. It's a waste of time, and you just end up getting your heart broken in the end. The second thing I want to talk to you guys about when starting a new relationship is children. Ask that person, do you see children in your future? No one wants to ask this question because they feel like they're coming on too strong. Ask them, hey, do you see any children in your future? You don't have to say, do you want to have children with me? Even though Some people may want to know that right away. You need to ask them, do you see children in the future in general? Because if they tell you no, that's something they're not looking forward to. And you shouldn't jump in a relationship saying, well, I'll smother them with babies and show them photos on the internet and maybe they'll change their mind. You do not want to go into a relationship like that. That's not right. That's a negative. You don't want to bring that into a relationship. And yes, people do change their mind, but you shouldn't want to go into a relationship thinking you need to change someone's mind. That's not a good thing. And the last thing I want to tell you about is a very, very, very big one. That is commitment. Commitment. Okay? Ask that person, do you see marriage in your future? If you're someone who wants to get married, ask that person, do they see marriage in their future? Because they may have already been married and not willing to do it again, or they may not believe in marriage in the first place, and you may believe in it. Or if you're the one who do not want to get married, you don't want to make that commitment, it's too much, or you may not even think it's a big deal, it's just a piece of paper. Tell that person how you feel if they haven't brought it up to you. Say these things in the beginning of the relationship. Do not waste your time and do not waste their time. Yes, it's 2019. There's couples out here, there's people out here that's like, we don't need to get married. We don't need to do all that. I love you. You love me. We got a life together. That's all that matters. That is okay. But you need to make sure it is okay with the person that you're trying to get into a relationship with. Do not be afraid to ask these kind of questions. Because you don't want to be dating someone for 5 years. You don't move in with them. You about to have their kid. Then you bring up marriage. And it's, oh, I don't want to do that. Ask these things at the beginning, because you don't want to go into a relationship feeling like you have to change someone's way of thinking. You don't want to do that. It's a waste of time, and someone is going to be having a broken heart, especially when you may have already gotten attached to that person. I was the one who asked these questions in the beginning of my relationship with my husband. We were young, but I was already in a relationship that was for a few years. I was attached to him, and things didn't work out the way I thought they would. We broke the relationship off. It was a clean break. It was fine. But I knew in my next relationship, I didn't want to waste any time. I asked him, what's your beliefs? What's your religion? Do you attend church? What church do you go to? What kind of church is it? Ask him, do you see children in your future? If there's an issue where I can't have children, are you willing to adopt? Because I want children. What about marriage? I'm a Baptist, for those of you who don't know. I believe in marriage. I believe in making that commitment. I believe in that. I do not believe in living with you and we're not married. Some people are fine with that. I'm fine with that. If you're fine with that, that's your life. So I had to make sure, is this something in your future? I didn't ask him, hey, you plan on marrying me next month? That's not how that went. But I needed to know, because I don't want to waste time. And I'm not going to try to change you, and you shouldn't try to change me. So I asked these questions at the beginning of the relationship. That's the message I want to share with you guys today, because I feel that too many relationships are starting off and you're not getting to know each other. Yes, you want to meet the parents. What's your parents' name? I know his middle name, and I know what bank he used. Some women are like that. I know who his dad hangs out and play golf with. I know where his mom works. Me and his mom talk on the phone, and you get close to that person. But then when it's really time to put your ducks in a row, and it's really time to play your life out, it's time to move in, it's time to move forward, you realize you don't even know this person, because you didn't ask what needed to be asked in the beginning. And there's hundreds of other questions that need to be asked, but I feel like these are the big 3 that you should be asking at least within 3 weeks of that relationship. You don't have to come on strong. You don't have to make it seem like you're asking them, hey, you want to marry me someday? You need to ask them, is there a commitment in your future at all? Because if you're looking for that and they're not going to provide that, you need to walk away from that before you get too attached to the situation. If you're not looking to do that and they're looking to do that, you need to let them go and you need to walk away from that situation. What your beliefs are, kids, no kids, marriage, no marriage, believer, non-believer, it doesn't matter. But it needs to be said in the beginning of the relationship. Me and my husband, again, we've been together for almost 8 years. We have a son together. Our son is 10 months old. The longest breakup we might have had is, a couple hours, about a day. We do have fights. Our relationship is not perfect, but we work. He has what's expected of him from me, and I know what he expects from me as his wife, because that's how relationships work. You have to talk about these things. It may not be what you want to talk about in the beginning because you don't want to be the one coming on too strong or seeming desperate, but tell him, I don't want to be the one wasted time. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. What the fudge, America? So, there is allegedly another R. Kelly sex tape. So, Sarah Steiner was on CNN. She saw the tape. She said there's a young girl on the tape that refers to her body parts as being 14 more than 6 times. And Joey Jackson was also on CNN, and he said, we're in the age of technology and anything, basically, he said, can be made with the computer. Now, this is my input, okay? When the first tape came out in 2008, I was a teenager. And when that came out, it was more like, that's not true, People was like, he got away with it, so it couldn't have been true. Give him the benefit of the doubt. He went on, lived his life. He did big collaborational songs. Everybody loved R. Kelly. He makes funeral music. He makes wedding music. He make baby making music. He made car accident music. He make any and other kind of song. He got an anthem for everything. He do. So everybody continue to grow and love his music. For me, if this alleged tape actually turns out to be R. Kelly, it's time to mute R. Kelly. It is. It's time to mute R. Kelly if this is him on this tape. They say in the tape, Sarah Steiner goes on to say that the girl urinates on herself and then he urinates on her. The man in the video urinates on her. She said those are things that happened in the tape that he was on trial for back in 2008. So I'm just like, wow. That's just mind blowing. She said this tape is very clear. It's in a well-lit room. They said it was 2 scenes, she said. Sarah Steiner said there was one in the living room, she said, which was well lit. And she said the man appears to be R. Kelly on the tape. And she said there's no way for them to actually confirm the girl's age. She's in the video referring to her body parts as 14. So there's no way to confirm the girl's age. Now, and the second scene took place in the bedroom. She said the bedroom is a little dark, but it's still clear these are the same 2 people that's on the tape. You can see you can see the people clearly on the tape. Now, that's just mind-blowing. Because before the first tape came out, it was on a VHS, and that was allegedly supposed to be R. Kelly, and the tape wasn't clear. You really just seen two people, and you couldn't really tell who is who in the tape. But this one, you have the man talking and you have the girl talking. This is a clearer tape in a bright room, according to Sarah, who saw this tape, who was reporting back to CNN in her interview. So now that they have this new alleged tape, I guess we're going to see how it's going to play out this time. And especially with the influence of the documentary that came out, Surviving R. Kelly, with all these young women who spoke out on what they experienced allegedly in his house and what happened around him. His even ex-wife is on the show as well, if anyone hasn't seen it. Now, something I wanna speak on, because I'm not really gonna necessarily say R. Kelly did this, and I'm not gonna say he didn't do this. I don't know this. I wasn't there in that house, and I'm not one to speak on a situation if I'm not 100% sure about this. But the reason why I'm doing this topic is because I want to tell you guys what I took from this. What I took from this situation is me being a parent, that I need to make sure I'm more aware of what my child is doing and where my child is at. It was a girl on the tape that supposedly was with him, and the parents said they didn't even know she was with him until a friend told them. A friend. The girl's friend. And I'm like, how did you not know where your child is? See, you have to be on top of your children. When I was a child and I went to my friend's house, or even if I went to my cousin's house up the street, I had to call my mother. Every day I had to call my mom. Sometimes twice. My mom's going to call me back. She's going to call because she wants to know where I'm at, what I'm doing, who I'm with, when I'm coming back, and who else is going to show up. You have to know these things about your children. You have to ask these kind of questions. If your child goes over to a friend's house and say, I'm going to a sleepover, call that friend's mother. Call that friend's father, that guardian, whoever's supposed to be there. Talk with them. Talk with that actual child that your child is hanging out with. Get to know that child so that way you know if that's the influence you want around your child. Because there are people who will bring harm to your children if you're not protecting them properly. I'm not talking about those parents who did everything they could and something unfortunately happened to their child. I'm talking about those parents who do not call, who do not check on their child because they're too afraid to be the uncool mom or the not down dad, and they don't make their children check in with them. A lot of things can happen if you do not make your children check in with you. You can't wait till your child is 18 and 20 years old and then want them to check in with you. Because then you'll be that parent saying, oh, he never calls. I never hear from her unless they need some money. Because that's the relationship you allowed them to have with you while you were at home. When that child is at home, you have to teach that child rules. And you have to teach that child how to live. You don't live your life without checking on your mom and your dad. Whoever's in the household raising you, grandma, auntie, uncle, my cousin could have been raising you. Whoever's taking care of you. Do not let your child be that child that turns his back on his family once they leave for college, or they get their own place, or they move in with a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Because you have to drill that kind of thing into their head as a child when they start off small. Remember to check on me, because I'm doing this for you. And it's really not them checking in on you. That's how you can check in on them. You don't have to be overprotective and crazy, but you have to be to the point where if your child is with someone, you know where your child is. You have to know where your child is at all times. There are people out there who will abuse your child sexually. There's people who will abuse your child physically. And there is people who will abuse your child mentally. These people are out there. I didn't get how these parents didn't know where their kids was until it was too late, that they was in too deep, that they wasn't willing to leave. You have to know where your children are. As parents, you have to know where your children are. Ask your child, where are you going? And that new car I help you get, where are you going at? Even if that's their car, you're living under my roof. Where are you going? Who are you going with? When are you going to be back? Who else is going to be there? Don't be that parent where your child's like, hey, I'm going out. And they get in their car and you don't know where they're going, who they're going to see. If your kid's old enough to drive. You don't know who they're going to see. You don't know if there's alcohol and drugs involved. You see, alcohol and drugs will be around your child. You cannot stop that. But you can put in their heads before they can even drink alcohol or even know what drugs are, your view on that. Because see, you've heard it your whole life. This is wrong, or this is okay here, and little of this. You can give your point of view to your child when they're young. We have to better protect our children. There's too many cases out here where children wind up dead, children wind up beaten, and children wind up raped. And the parents get on the news and they say, I didn't know where they was headed. I didn't know where they was headed. I didn't know who they was going to see. And you just don't know, and you're scared because now something is wrong and now you want to be that parent that's there. You have to ask your child where they're going when they walk out that door. The world is not a beautiful place. This world is full of a lot of hate. This world is full of a lot of sick people. I'm telling you, you have to know where your child is. That's what I really took from this R. Kelly situation. The story that's going around with R. Kelly and this new alleged sex tape and all these girls speaking out on what happened to them when they was allegedly with him. The reason why I'm using allegedly is because, again, we don't know for sure until this trial plays out, till this case plays out. But how do you not know where your child is? That's all I wanted to talk about, really, because I can't really sit here and bash R. Kelly, and I can't really sit here and defend R. Kelly. I just wanted to tell you what I took from this situation. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, guys. We've made it to the end of our very, 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 very 6th episode of this All Say It Then podcast. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in again to a new episode. And if this is your first time hearing me, thank you for giving this podcast a chance. I hope you like it and I hope you follow it. please, guys, rate this podcast, comment on this podcast, and subscribe if you're listening to me on any platform that asks you to do that. Thank you guys so much for listening and supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. If you think the message I shared today needs to be heard by your family and friends, please share this podcast on all social media platforms. And again, guys, thank you. Until next week, Diva. Hey, what's up, guys? Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Yo, when I was trying to get my podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions like, how do I even record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other platforms where people like to listen? The answer to my questions was really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. I like using Anchor. I wouldn't podcast another way. For you to get started, just go to anchor.fm/start. Again, just go to anchor.fm/start so you can start your podcast today. Stop waiting. Hey, what's up, guys? Before I forget, I want to let you guys know I launched a brand spanking new YouTube channel. Look me up on YouTube, guys. My YouTube name is Follow Diva Tube. That's Follow Diva Tube. So my podcast episodes will also be uploaded to YouTube. I'm also going to upload videos of me living my best life. I want to get a little personal with you guys, talk about some things on this channel. So make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want to get to know me on another level. Again, thanks. Diva.